Good morning. Oh, not morning. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Exercise with Exos. Coach Jazzy here, and I have a little bit of a different type of circuit set up. Not really different type, but we're doing some different movements today. That's what we'll say. So we're gonna do 3 rounds. We're gonna do 45, 15. So back to more of our regular setup here, but we're going to start off on the ground. I'm going to go through real quick with our demos and then we will get right into it. So we're going to start off on the ground. We're going to do what I like to call a crab walk toe tap. I don't know if that's the correct legitimate name, but that's just what we're going to call it. So we're going to start seated. We're going to have our hands behind us, feet in front, butt is off the ground. We're going to exhale, push all of our weight into one of our hands, lift up, touch our opposite toe, and then to the other side, same thing. So in our faster way, going through that. So that is our first movement. Movement number 2, we're going to do a bear crawl hold. And you can do this a couple different ways. You can do a tap or no tap, whatever feels good. But from our hands and our knees, we are going to gently tuck our toes, lift our knees slightly off the ground. So we're going to feel that in our quads and in our core. And if you want to, like I said, spice it up, you can add a little shoulder tap in there. So that is our second movement. And then we're going to stand up. I need to fix my camera here. We're going to stand up. We're going to do some inchworms. So you can, as always, you can do whatever feels good. You can do this one of a few ways. So first one, you can walk your hands out and you can either do a push-up or not do a push-up, whatever feels good for you. We'll say we're going to do a push-up. And then you can either walk your feet or you can walk your hands back. Whatever feels good for you today is what I would like you to do. So that's movement number 3. Realize I have bracelets in my pocket and I don't want those to fall out. Okay. Then after that, we're going to do reverse lunges with rotation. So we're going to alternate our legs here. So starting at the top, we're going to step back, reverse lunge, inhale, rotate, exhale back, then stand up, and then the other side again. Inhale, exhale, and standing on up. So that is movement number 4. And then next thing, we're going to do a little bit more cardio. We're going to do our triple switch, and then we're going to do a single leg RDL. You can also do a kickstand, or you can just hold, whatever feels good. But demonstrating here, 1, 2, 3. And then you can push your hips back, push your ground away, and then into the other leg, or you can put your toe down, do a little bit of that kickstand, coming back up. So that is that. And then finally, we're going to do a lateral march or skip. So whatever feels good for you today. But I always like to practice the march before doing the skip. But coming up over and across, and then you're going to do that march. And then if you, again, feel like you want to skip or it feels good to skip, then you can kind of start doing this. So that is our whole circuit for today. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to start off. We're going to do the world's greatest stretch. So we're going to go ahead and come to the top of our space. Move this front. We're going to go ahead and interlace our fingers, grab onto one of our knees, pulling towards our chest. And we're going to exhale, step back into our reverse lunge. Hands coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg stays nice and straight. Nice big deep inhale. And exhale, opening up towards the ceiling, looking past our hand. Thumb is facing behind us. And we're going to exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. And when we're ready, we're going to go ahead and exhale. Bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to go ahead and interlace our fingers, grab onto our other knee, pulling towards our chest. And we're going to go ahead, exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Hands coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg stays nice and straight. Nice big deep inhale. And exhale, opening up towards the ceiling, looking past our hand. Thumb is facing behind us. And we're going to go ahead and exhale. Plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer, pushing our hips up into our hamstring stretch. And we're going to go ahead and exhale. Bring our feet together. Push the ground away and stand on up. Perfect. All right. Last part of our warm-up today, we're not going to do plank to pike. We're going to go ahead and do some quadruped opposite so we can wake up our glutes and our core and our shoulders a little bit. So making our way onto the ground, and we're keeping our belly button pulled into our spine. Hips are slightly behind our knees here. We're going to exhale, bring our leg all the way straight back, arm out in front and back down, and same thing other side. We're going to do about 3 on each side. So you can hold. We want to hold for a few seconds at the top. So we're going back to our first leg. Key here, our core is engaged. So we're bringing our core together. Hip is facing down, just like our RDLs. And we want to feel this again in our core. And our glutes, we're going to do 1 more on each side. And last one. And after that last one, go ahead, return to your starting position, hands and knees, and then go ahead and sit down on your butt because we're doing our crab walk toe taps first. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get the timer started here in 3, 2, 1, and go. All right, so on our hands and our feet, but we are starting in that seated position. So feet are roughly hip width apart, hands behind us, getting in that position that feels comfortable, and then slight raise in our glutes. So basically the opposite of the bear crawl that we're going to do next. We're going to exhale, bring our core together, kick our leg up, and tap the opposite toe. Whoops. Once you get the hang of it, we can go ahead and speed it up a little bit. But we're going to feel that in our core. We're using our glutes and our arms. A little bit of total body here. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right. Next up, we have a bear crawl. And you hold, and you can either tap your shoulders or not, whatever feels good today. 3, 2, 1. So on our hands and our knees, we're going to tuck our toes and gently bring our knees slightly off the ground. So with our setup too, we want to make sure, just like with any other movement like this, our hands are screwed into the ground. And again, tucking our toes ever so slightly. And our core is engaged just like with those quadruped opposites we did. So we're bringing our core together, belly button push into our spine. We're gently lifting our knees slightly off the ground. I feel like I can't even tell if my knees are up off the ground. Let me go back here for a second. So our knees are slightly up. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. All right. Next up, we have inchworms. So we're going to go ahead and come to one side of our space, but you can do this with or without a push-up. 3, 2, 1. So just like I showed in the demos, you can do this one of a few ways. So we're going to start off, we're pushing our hips back, bringing our hands all the way to the ground. Our back is nice and flat. We're walking our hands out into our plank. So this is where we can do a few things. Number 1, you can do a push-up. So you can come down and up. And then when you're ready to come back, you can either walk your feet or your hands. So with that being said, if you want to work more on your arms today, that's when you walk your hands back. If you want to work on your legs, you walk your legs back. Whatever really feels good for you today, that's what I'd like you to do. And then, like I said, you don't even have to do a push-up if you don't want to. You can always just walk your hands back. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right. Next up is reverse lunge with rotation. We are going to alternate each side here. So we're going to start at the top of our space. 3, 2, 1. So remembering this is 2 separate movements. So step 1, we step back. We then inhale, rotate. Exhale, rotate back. And then push our foot through the ground and stand on up. So we don't want to rotate and step at the same time. We want it to be separate because we want to use our core to rotate in and back, and then use our legs to step back up. I find if we try and do that all at the same time, we tend to do one or the other. We want to focus on each one separately. We're also going to get a little bit of that isometric hold in there, which is also good for our leg muscles. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right, not last one. We got 2 more movements and then we got 2 more rounds. Next up, we're doing a triple switch into a single leg RDL. 3, 2, 1. So we're starting with one knee up, opposite arm, opposite leg. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. We're gonna sink into our hip. We're gonna push our hips back like we're closing a door behind us. Headlights on our hips, blinding the ground. And then we push the ground away and go right into the next one. 1, 2, 3. Get our balance. And then if it's too much, if you're focused so much on your balance that you're not really doing that many of the movement, go ahead, drop your toe down. So you're going to bring your toe almost in line with your arch of your other foot. You're going to push your hips back, push the ground away, and do the other side. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. All right. Last movement here. We need a little bit of space going side to side here. We're going to do a lateral march or skip, whatever feels good for you today. 3, 2, 1. So as we go to the side, we're going to do opposite arm, opposite leg. So if you want to do a couple in place, you're then going to push off your opposite leg and step over. So when I'm going to my left, I'm pushing off of my right leg, and my left leg is coming up and over. So if we're going this way, my leg is going over. So I'm pushing off my right leg, bringing my left leg like I'm stepping kind of over something. So like if you imagine you have like a block or something here, we're stepping over that block. And then if you want to skip through that, go ahead. I find it helpful to kind of do a couple skips and then start skipping. 3, 2, 1. All right, great job, everyone. That is one round. So we got 2 more to go. Turning back on the ground, on our butts. Crab walk, toe taps. 3, 2, 1. So hands behind us, feet in front, lifting our butt slightly off the ground. Exhaling, tapping our hand to our opposite toe. So we are going to get a little bit of quad work, a little bit of glute work, arms. We're definitely feeling that in our arms, and also using our core. So want to keep our core locked in here. I always like to imagine as we exhale, we're breathing through our straw, which is going to bring our core down and together. Whoops. So where the balance comes in, single arm, single leg strength as well. 3, 2, 1. All right. Flipping on over, hands and knees, we have bear crawl. Hold with or without the shoulder tap there. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we are on our hands and knees. And tucking our toes. And again, gently lifting our knees off the ground. So our back is nice and flat. So if it helps too, we're screwing our hands into the ground and we're squeezing our armpits. So our back is nice and flat. Belly button is pressed into our spine as we breathe through our straw. Focusing on our breath. And that's where we can add those shoulder taps in. Sometimes it helps to make it seem like we're not holding it for as long. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Oh, those always get me. Next up, we have inchworms. So starting to one side of our space. 3, 2, 1. So again, with a push-up, without a push-up, however you're feeling today. And you can either walk your hands or walk your arms. Regardless of which one we are choosing, we want to make sure our back stays flat and our core is engaged. And if we're walking, regardless of if we're walking our hands or our feet back, as we are here, so let's say I just walked my hands back, we want to push through our heels, use our legs to stand up. Our back is still staying flat. We don't want to pull with our back. That's going to put tension on our low back. 3, 2, 1. It's just like we're doing an RDL or something. So using those glutes there. All right. Next up, reverse lunge with our rotation. We are alternating our legs. 3, 2, 1. So we are stepping back. Our knee is over our second toe. Chest is over the arch of our front foot. So just like if we were squatting or anything we did yesterday, right? Same thing. We rotate, step back up. So I'm going to face this way for a second. So we step back. We want to make sure as we step back, our feet are on train tracks. We're not stepping directly behind our foot. We're stepping directly behind our hip. So our feet are on train tracks. Exhale, rotate, step back up. So as we step back up, we're only using our front leg. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. All right. 2 more movements, and we got our last round. We have triple switch into our single leg Romanian deadlift or RDL. 3, 2, 1. We are here. 1, 2, 3. Pushing our hips back, push your out away. Want to push our hips like we're closing a door behind us. And we want our headlights on our hips to line the ground. So we don't want to be open here. We want to push our hips back, staying over our foot that we're using and coming back up. Great job, y'all. Keep pushing. We're almost there. A little longer work to rest ratio than yesterday. 3, 2, 1. All right, last step, and then we got one more round. We are doing lateral marches or skips, whatever feels good for you today. 3, 2, 1. So pushing off our opposite leg. We want to be mindful of our upper body as well. So as we are coming across, we have opposite arm, opposite leg. We're pushing over, then back. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Oh, I was not expecting that. Okay, so our upper body though is staying nice and tall. So our core is engaged, our pelvis is tucked, and we're just moving our legs. So we're staying nice and tall. Arms are like hammers coming down. So coming thumb to shoulder, thumb to shoulder. 3, 2, 1. I feel like I forget to mention the upper body on those a lot. All right, last round coming up. On the ground, on our butts. Crab, walk, toe taps. 3, 2, 1. So feet are flat on the ground. 1 at a time. Opposite arm up to opposite toe. And back. So exhaling through our straw. Bring our ribs and our core down and together. And our belly button is coming towards our spine. Our core is nice and activated. Great job. Last round here today, finishing strong. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. I sat on my tailbone. That did not feel good. Still healing. All right, bear crawl toe taps here. Oh, sorry, bear crawl with or without a shoulder tap. 3, 2, 1. I just mixed those two movements together on accident. Okay. So you can, like I said, you can add the shoulder tap if that feels good. Or you can just focus on the holding portion of it. If it also helps you, I know it helps me to do this a little bit, especially with something that I'm not super great at, like this. If you do it and you hold as long as you can. When you start to get tired, take a break, count 1, 2, 3, and back into it. 3, 2, 1. That is my tip for anything. If you rest, just do 1, 2, 3, and right back into it. All right, done with those. We got inchworms next. 3, 2, 1. All right. So even on this one, our core is engaged because we're bringing our butt to our belly button. Core is coming nice and down, so our ribs are coming down together. Using our arms out into our plank, pushing up using those shoulders, and then we're either walking our feet or our hands. My legs are feeling it today. Okay. Oops. Great job, y'all. We're finishing strong with this one. Last time doing these today. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're done with those last 3 movements here, and then we're gonna cool down. We're gonna do some pretzel. Sorry, not pretzel. We're gonna do figure 4. Sorry, I lied. Figure 4 when we're done. All right, reverse lunges. 3, 2, 1. So we are stepping back. Inhale, exhale, stand back up. Like I said, that first round is 2 separate movements. I was going too fast. Still, like I mentioned, I'm still recovering a little bit from my injury on my tailbone. To move a little slower. Sometimes I forget because I do feel good 95% of the time, but certain things do bother it. And single leg movements are one of those things that bother it, especially a lunge or anything that's like a split squat. 3, 2, 1. All right. The last 2 movements here, triple switch into our single leg RDL. And then we have lateral marches or skips. We're getting ready here. 3, 2, 1. So we're here. 2, 3. Pushing our hips back, push your guard away. And as I just mentioned, right, my single leg movements are hurting. Now that I moved in a way that didn't feel so good, now this doesn't feel good. So that's where we drop that toe down if we need to. So doing what feels good for you today. That always includes me. Sometimes the things I plan don't feel as good as I was hoping, and that happens. It's all about showing up and giving your 100% you have for that day. So if you're only at your 70% of your normal 100% on any given day, but you give all 70%, that's still giving it 100% for that day. 3, 2, 1. All right, y'all, we are at our last movement today. Lateral marches or skips. 3, 2, 1. So, as I mentioned, sometimes it's helpful if you start in place. Then you can go ahead and try moving side to side. I forgot to mention that if you don't have the space, you can always move as much as you can in the space you have. If you don't have any space, just go ahead and do that in place without moving. I'm sorry, I definitely forgot to mention that earlier, which normally I'm a little bit better at that. Sorry, I stopped there, I got confused. I was doing the wrong leg and wrong arm. Nice and tall, using that core as well. We want to exhale as we drive our knee up. That's going to help us use our core. 3, 2, 1. And that is it for today's circuit. So we'll go ahead and grab a sip of water if you need it. Like I mentioned, we're gonna do some figure 4 on the ground. So when you're ready, we're gonna go ahead, make our way onto our backs on the ground. And we're gonna have one foot on the ground. We're gonna cross our opposite ankle over our opposite knee. And if that tension feels good, you can go ahead and stay there, or you can go ahead and interlace your fingers, grabbing in the middle of your hamstring or in front of your shin, and pull your knee towards your chest. And we're gonna start to slow our breath down. Nice long exhales, just like yesterday. We want to really bring our body into our rest and digest and down regulate our nervous system. This is a great thing to practice after workouts, but also anytime you need to kind of de-stress throughout the day or before you go to bed, anything like that. It's really helpful to practice those breathing techniques to help down-regulate. There are also breathing techniques to upregulate your nervous system. I usually don't do those because I think majority of us need to downregulate at some point due to stress from work, life, having too much caffeine, all of that. So we're gonna do a few more breaths here. And when we're ready on our next exhale, we can go ahead and gently bring our feet to the ground. And then when we're ready, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So opposite ankle over opposite knee. And you can either stay there or interlace your finger in the middle of your hamstring. So we don't want to grab behind our knee because that can put tension on our knee joint. So grabbing in the middle of our hamstring or in front of our shin and pulling our knee towards our chest. Let's go ahead and do one more breath. And as we finish our exhale, we can gently bring both of our feet back down to the ground. And feel free to stay lying on your back, or you can return to a seated kneeling or a standing position, but that is going to be us for today. So thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you all enjoyed that workout. I know I gave us a few different movements in there today. But thank you again. I hope y'all have a great weekend, and hopefully I'll see y'all again next week for more class.